Hi everyone, welcome back to this channel. So this is a part 4 of the Keysight signal management software walkthrough and setup. So in this video we are focusing on setting up occupancy measurements and how can we read back the result. So occupancy measurements is utilizing the channel scanner features in the FieldFox. So where you can set the center frequency of each band of interest and also the span of measurements. So far we have tested up to 40 points and it still works with this software. So without further ado, let's go through that. So again, this is how we get into this spectrum, occupancy, and this is a setup page. So again, you can choose FieldFox 1 or FieldFox 2. In this occupancy measurements, user can only select one FieldFox at one time. So it's not like monitoring where you can select multiple FieldFoxes at the same time. So for occupancy, you can choose one. And so there are two ways of setting up the table over here. So the table will define the channel name, frequency, which is referring to the center frequency, the bandwidth of that measurements, and the threshold is a limit line where you set, and if any signal goes beyond or higher power than the threshold line, it will be considered as the signal is occupying the channel. So it's very useful if you have a random signal that's coming out, if you want to check for interference. So these are very good tools to do it. Or you can check whether you have any dropout on the particular signal at certain frequency band. So you can use that also. So you want to see either 100% or less than certain percentage for that. So one way of populating that table is using start-stop frequency and number of points. So for example, I start with 400 meg, then stop frequency I stop at 800 meg. And each point is 20 meg spacing. So 20 meg spacing divided by 400 meg divided by 20 meg spacing, you get about 20 points. So let's see that. So one page can only accommodate 10 channels. So definitely we have second or third channels. Okay, of course it starts from 0. So we have one extra. So let's push it to the limit. Let's change it to 5. Then we should get quite a lot. So we got 81 points. I haven't tested it yet, whether it works, but why not? Let's give it a try. So this is by default. It'll be the same for every point. Let's change it to minus 65. Okay, and populate. And you can actually custom change every point here. Let's say I like it to be 405.5 instead of 405. And my threshold, I want it to be minus 72. Okay, you can do that. So this is one of the way to do it. And this is the duration of measurements. I want to measure for 1 minute. And this refresh rate is where going to how long it would take before the updates happens on this table. And sampling rate is for this setup is every 5 seconds I'll capture a new reading. You can run it daily. For example, you set it out in the middle of nowhere, you let the computer and FieldFox plug into the external power, and you suspect that the interference only happens between 12 noon to 2 p.m. So you can do that by setting this up and then change this to, let's say you want to measure between 12 to 2 p.m. So this is where you change it to hours. Okay, and once you click start, it will start counting down again. So right now, the time here is in the afternoon, 4:45 p.m. So the next one it will trigger is 12 p.m. the next day. So this is the next measurements countdown. Okay, we won't wait until then. Let's cancel it. Let's set it back to 1 minute, and you're going to see what's going on there. All right, let's populate again. Let's start. I probably stressed the FieldFox too much, so you can see that the update rate is very slow. You might want to cancel it and change the number of points. So let's do that. 20 meg. Let's play it again. Let's start. So as you can see, the last visited time is 47 and 12 seconds. Because we set it to refresh rate to 20 seconds, the next update will be the 32. And if you feel like you want to see any updates directly, you can override it using this refresh. But nevertheless, it will still update on the 52 seconds. So it has been a minute. Once it's done, one of the bugs is that it won't tell you it's stopped. So you have to click on refresh. It's all done. Okay. The other way to load the number of points here is to go into CSV and upload a file. So this is a file that I created, and the file is practically just channel, comma, the name, comma, center frequency in Hertz unit, and also comma, and then bandwidth in Hertz, and then threshold in dBm. So I'm going to show you how it looks like. Like I say, so channel, comma, channel name, comma, center frequency in Hertz, bandwidth in Hertz, threshold in dBm, and you can add in as many as you want. Now it will work exactly the same. If I start again, it all depends on these durations and based on this channel. Let's go to the result. The result shows what has been recorded on the occupancy. Let's look at the one that we did yesterday. So for example, at 110, which is a radio frequency here, occupancy rate is 98.82%. This happens on 1 minute durations. So this is a cumulative time that's within that 1 minute. And you can export this to a CSV file for post-processing, just to show things in your report. And one thing to be aware of is that once you export this file, it doesn't have any of this header. I think this is one of the bugs or improvements needed from Keysight to add that in. So what you get in the CSV file is 1, channel name, frequency in megahertz, and then bandwidth in megahertz, and then threshold, and then comma. Everything is in comma without header. So it's hard to know what each numbers represent. So that's it for occupancy. So this is a good 4-part video on Keysight signal management software, and I hope this helped. Thanks for watching.